Coming to you every week from no place in particular. It's the best, worst thing you've never seen. This is the Forever Road Podcast featuring Bosco. Find us on some great platforms like iHeart, Spotify, and even more as we keep growing. Now, pointed down that Forever Road, he's a music lover, a historian, and a connoisseur of the obscure. It's Bosco, here on the Forever Road Podcast.
What's going on, brothers and sisters? I am Bosco, Forever Road Podcast. Coming to you live once again, somewhere in particular. How y'all doing? I hope y'all are having a great Sunday as I record this. It has been hot. I hope everybody's had a great week. Staying busy, staying hydrated, staying safe. I have been working in the yard. It was hot. I had to give up. I had one more thing to do. I cut the grass, ran the weed eater, all the things, and I was just pouring sweat. And that was probably about, 2 hours ago. I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm going ahead and chill out, cool off before I go live. Make sure everybody's, anyway. That way I can bring y'all some good stuff. We are at episode 71, Forever Road Podcast. Matter of fact, while I got you, Five Stone Warrior should be going live very soon. I spent a little time setting up the StreamYard, setting up the accounts. I still have to create the Instagram and the Facebook accounts, but it is going to be a ministry podcast. I've devoted my life to Christ and serving Christ and spreading the gospel like I'm supposed to. And I'm super excited about that. We're going to have Brother Jonathan come on. And we're, as it progresses, as it gets closer, I'll tell you a little bit more. But I'm super excited about that, and I hope that everyone can join me. If you have questions about Scripture, if you had questions about following Christ or surrendering, giving your life over to Christ, surrendering it all to Him and His wonderful love and God and experiencing God's mercy. Because number one, God loves you. That's the number one thing. He loves you regardless of what your past is. Regardless of what your past is, I'll say that again. What my past is, He still loves me. So anyway, Five Stone Warrior is going to be Five Stone Warrior on all the podcasts, all the platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Live, think Facebook Live and Instagram Live once we get those going. But to start off with, we're going to start off in YouTube. But anyway, so I'm super excited about that. So Forever Road Podcast, if y'all don't, please don't forget to go on YouTube and click the like and subscribe. Like, subscribe, or however it's flipped under me, whatever side it is. Go on Spotify, hit follow, go into your settings and click automatic download. The little gear thing, the cog gear thing, the settings, click that auto download. You don't even have to have notifications turned on, just auto download. Boom. Like and share this video. For our listeners, please like and share this. If it's somebody that you don't like, share it with them too. I heard another podcast. I'm not gonna lie. I heard another podcast say that the other day, and I cracked up. So I'm gonna give credit to them. things I learned last night. It's pretty good, interesting history podcast. I don't know them personally, but I do listen to podcasts when I'm not. Speaking of other podcasts, here in about a month and a half, we'll be riding up to Bowling Green, Kentucky for Mo Party. I'm super excited about that. It's September 12th to the 14th in Bowling Green, Kentucky at Beach Bend Raceway. I'll be staying up there with the guys from the Kibby and Friends show. Sorry, I had a hitch. And, you know, Rob over there, Rob Kibby, Bernie McPartland, Justin Cornett, Corn Dog, as we call him. And you want to see all things Mopars. So if you're into Mopars, meaning Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth, DeSoto, anything Mopar. It's a big, huge car show. Good Lord, we'll cover it as it gets closer. But it's a big car show, swap meet, festival, vendors, all the things, food. I'm supposed to make a big old thing of barbecue, and I got to make it and take it with me. Has been requested, so I'll get up there and do that. But anyway, we'll kick this thing off today, man. I've got a lot to cover, a lot of little interesting little stories wrapped all around this one little bitty racetrack that's been closed down for years, hidden off in the woods, off the little sidewalk. You wouldn't even know it if you were going down the road. You wouldn't even know it was there. I found it in the early 90s, maybe mid 90s. I found out about it myself, but I noticed that I found out later that I've seen it before in a movie. So we'll cover all that. We also know this past week in death has been kind of rough, man. First we lost Malcolm on Jamal Warner. Everybody knows Theo Huxtable. He's been in other things. Last thing I seen him in was an episode of the show called 911. He was he had a role in it for a brief period of time. And then we lost Ozzy. Ozzy Osbourne passed away. And then right after that, man, we lost Hulk Hogan. And then somebody informed me of this jazz artist, which, like I said, there's nothing we really covered here, but what was the dude's name? Somebody. Okay, I posted it on my personal account the other day. Let's see. It was a jazz musician. Let me see. Lord, I can't find it now. I apologize. Huh. There it is. And Chuck Mangione died too. All right. Just covering that a little bit. All right. So let's go on to today in music history. I usually have it pulled up. I don't have it. I've been reading a lot of other stuff today. And even today's topic, I think Dale Jr. covered it on his video. Lost lost tracks or raceways. They've been closed, forgotten tracks. Let's see. This day in 2001, Leon Wilkerson, the original bass player for Leonard Skinner, was found dead in a hotel room in Florida. Age 49, Leon played the bass and then became a member of the Washington Collins Band later before Skinner reunited in '87. Let's see. I remember that when Leon, they called him the cat in the hat because Leon would never wear the same hat with each song. Each song he would change a hat. Even every concert, he'd never wear the same hat. 2 songs in a row. I don't see anything. in, in 1958, fans of rock and roll music were warned that tuning in to music on the car radio could cost you more money. Researchers from the ESO Gas Company said that the rhythm of rock and roll could cause the driver to be foot heavy on the pedal, making them waste fuel. Lame. What kind of nerd? Come on, man. Boy, I hated rock and roll when it first came out. It was the devil's music. Oh. Let's see. On the birthdays. This day in 1964, Rex Brown, bassist with American heavy metal band Pantera. And I know we don't cover heavy metal. Well, we might. I don't know. Who had the 1994 hit with single "I'm Broken." Rex Brown was born today in 1964. Pantera released 4 albums during the 1980s. That's all they got on Pantera. That's kind of sad. Bobby Gentry. Bobby Gentry was born this day in 1944, U.S. singer-songwriter, notable as the first female country artist to compose and produce her own material. She rose international fame with her intriguing Southern Gothic narrative. Ode to Billy Joe. Y'all remember that song? The day Billy Joe jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge or something. Yeah. Track spent 4 weeks at U.S. #1 Billboard Hot 100 charts and sold over 3 million copies all over the world. Her album Fancy brought her a Grammy nomination for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. That's all I got. Yeah, that's all I got right here. I mean, let's look at. Tyler. What's going on, brother? We're just getting into today in music history. I didn't see much going on except for Bobby Gentry was born this day in 1944, and then some dude in 1958 with some gas company telling you that listening to rock and roll would cost you more in gas because your foot will be heavier on the gas pedal. You know how, I mean, I don't know how the history videos and all that stuff cracked me up back in the day. The warnings of rock and roll. Rock and roll is the devil's music. Oh, and kind of like them saying, they said the same thing about the blues. You know, the blues ain't nothing but a good man feeling bad. Let's see, what is today? 27th? Yeah, 1958 fans of rock and roll music were warned. I read this earlier. Dire Straits, money for nothing, and your chicks for free. They edit that song severely on the radio now. I mean, I don't listen to much regular radio anymore. Most of the time, I just stream my music over one of the music platforms. But if you listen to it on the radio, they edit that song a lot. Really, I didn't know that. They said, Tyler, for those of you who are listening, we usually engage in the chats, on YouTube chats and all that. I can engage and I highlight stuff and just kind of banter back and forth a little bit. Alice in Chains, Tyler said Alice in Chains, Them Bones does too. That's a pretty good song too. This day, 1974, Leonard Skinner released Sweet Home Alabama, an ode to them spending their time in that state at Muscle Shoals Sound Studios, which we've talked about previously in another in the episode before. I think it was season 1. I'm gonna have to revisit Leonard Skinner, kind of, a little bit more detail. It's weird sometimes. Like I'll get on here and I'll run down a whole thing of a topic, and then we'll get sidetracked a little bit, and I'll come back to the topic. And after I'm done recording, everything's done set, everything's sent. Something would hit me, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot about I forgot about this. And I'm like, So and you can't go back and edit it and put it in. At least I don't know how to, because everything I put on here, everything y'all see live on YouTube, even whenever it kicks over to Spotify, iHeart, and the YouTube music platforms for the listeners, it's just how it is recorded live. I don't edit anything. So yeah, because I don't have a producer. It's just me. Let's see. And this is from my Uncle John, because I know he listens. 1984, a little flick called Purple Rain, starring Prince in his acting debut, was released this day in 1984. It grossed more than 68 million in the United States, over 80 million worldwide, and won an Academy Award for Best Original Song Score. Some of that. 1984, also Metallica released their second album, Ride the Lightning. It was reissued, and a short time later, when they signed to Oh, dear God. Everybody's song to get tricked by the Rick Roll song, and it just, because the Rick Roll song, Never Gonna Give You Up, was released today in 1987. It climbed number one in March 1988, and in 2008 becomes the basis for the Rick Rolling trend. You are welcome, everybody who has that song in your head now. Let's see. This day in 2021, I remember this. Dusty Hill from ZZ Top, the bass player, dies at 72, ending a 51-year run with the band's lineup. It was always Hill, Billy Gibbons, and Frank Beard, the only dude without a beard. But no, Dusty Hill, I remember when he passed away, man. That was right in the height of the whole coat. Can I say that? The pandemic, the scamdemic. You know, that was right in the midst of all of that. He died, man. That was sad. Let's see. Bobby Gentry. I don't see. Well, I got there. Anyway, all right. We've got a lot to cover. Got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Hold on to your hat. All right. So, y'all, I don't know if Tyler saw it, but anybody that follows my YouTube channel saw me post a video of me riding around the track at the Byron Raceway. I'll look it up right now. See if I can go back and play it. It's really cool, man. It was for me, it was just one of those, if you don't take the chance now to do it, let's see, was it live? Did not transfer over? Let me look. So I took this trip to the Middle Georgia Raceway, and it means a lot to me. One, it was a site of an old, and I'll just start off here. Middle Georgia Raceway was built in Byron, Georgia. It opened in 1966 and ran NASCAR events, the big NASCAR, like what we would know as later on, it was known as Grand National Series, and later would become Winston Cup. And now Xfinity Cup, is that what they're on to now? And and I went and took this trip I felt like I needed to. And of course, the big thing about, let's see. There we go. All right. What's going on, brothers and sisters? It's Bosco again. Forever a podcast, not from the bars open. So I told y'all I'd get y'all here, or at least shoot a video from the Middle Georgia Raceway in Byron, Georgia. There's folks over there doing their golf swing, I guess practicing their golf. I don't understand golf. Y'all? Yeah, I don't know. Leave a comment below. Golf is boring. Hit the ball, go chase it. Nah, I'm good. Or lazy. Anyway, so this is, I can't walk back there. I think it's off limits and the gate down there is closed. But, yeah, imagine. This is also where the second Atlanta Pot Festival took place. And we're going to go adventure down here. So, the historic marker, like I was saying, is right here. Y'all know we read that on my last episode. What's going on, brothers and sisters? It's Bosco again. Looks like I cut it short, but anyway, so that was I did take a lap around the track, and you can actually go. I think you can actually go onto Forever Road Podcast to see that full clip of me taking a lap around the track. It was great. It was fun. When I pulled up in there, I pulled my truck out on the racetrack and just kind of, I said, you know what? I got to do it. So it's one of those, do it now, maybe never have another chance to do it ever again. I've taken the General out when they had a big car show down there. And there was a guy there who took official pictures and all the things and all that. And whatever. But for me, it was just, this is a historical racetrack. This is where Richard Petty raced, Wendell Scott, which we'll get into there, Bobby Isaac, Davey Allison, Rusty Wallace, So, without further ado, Middle Georgia Raceway is located in Byron, Georgia. 9 NASCAR Grand National Series races. There's a lot to unpack, so I'm just reading this off the website. It's a half-mile paved track, opened in 1966 for $500,000. The very first race, the Speedy Morlock 200, Richard Petty broke the speed record for the half-mile track at that time. He had a top speed of 82.023 miles per hour in half mile. He won the 100-mile event in his 66 Plymouth. Track held 9 NASCAR Grand National races from 66 to 71. Here's the highlights. Richard Petty won 4 races. Bobby Allison won 3. David Pearson and Bobby Isaac each earned one victory. Now, going back to that. If you don't know who Richard Petty is, allow me to introduce you. Richard Petty, son of Lee Petty, affectionately known as the King, 7-time Winston Cup champion, voiced in Cars, the movie Cars, or the movies. Everybody's calling him King Richard. I don't remember. I hadn't gotten into a deep dive on Richard Petty yet. At some point, I will, because I love that old NASCAR. I really do. I go into a deep dive, and go into a rabbit hole on NASCAR history. I grew up watching Richard Petty in the 80s, and Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, all the Tim Richmond. I can remember him racing on the track. So let's see. Moving on. Let's see. Richard Petty, Bobby Allison. Bobby Allison. If he's the father, is he? Bobby Allison is founder of the Alabama Gang, a group of drivers based in Hueytown, Alabama. Where they were abundant short tracks and with high purses, if you understand what high purses mean. He raced in NASCAR from 61 to 88, regularly competing in short track events throughout his career. He also raced in IndyCar, Trans Am, and Can-Am. Named one of NASCAR's 50th greatest driver and member of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, along with King Richard Petty. He was a 1983 Winston Cup champion and won the Daytona 500 in 78, 82, and 88. His brother, Donnie Allison, who was also a prominent driver, one of the Alabama Gang members, and were his two sons, Clifford and Davey. Bobby and Donnie's televised fistfight with Cale Yarborough at 79 Daytona 500 been credited to exposing NASCAR to a nationwide audience. Allison was unusual for competing successfully with his own low-budget team for most of his career. Now, Donnie Allison, that's a whole different. But Bobby Allison recently passed. Yeah, November 9th, 2024. Let's say he's been recently passed away. So that's them. I wanted to highlight some of these drivers because outside of NASCAR podcasts, you're not going to really hear these names. David Gene Pearson, December 22nd, 1934 to November 12th, 2018. I remember when David Pearson passed away too. Born Spartanburg, South Carolina, passed away in Spartanburg, South Carolina, age 83. Never missed a race while he was racing, while he was active. NASCAR described his 74 season as an indication of consistent greatness, finishing third in the season points, having competed only 19 of 30 races. Pearson's career paralleled Richard Petty's. The drivers who had won the most races in NASCAR history. They accounted for 63 first, second place finishes, with the edge going to Pearson. Petty won 200 wins, 1,184 starts, while Pearson had the 105 wins, 574 starts. Pearson was nicknamed the Fox, later the Silver Fox. Inauguration NASCAR Hall of Fame 2010 class. NASCAR described Pearson as a model of NASCAR efficiency during his career, with little exaggeration. We'll go in a deep dive on him. Then Bobby Isaac. The 71 Dodge Charger Daytona, sponsored by K&K Insurance. His crew chief was Harry Hyde. Now, there is a movie that we haven't covered here yet. Say yet. But if anybody ever seen the movie Days of Thunder, Harry, what's his name? Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall's character in that movie is based off of Harry Hyde, who was Bobby Isaac's crew chief. Bobby Isaac's car, Bobby Isaac, Robert Vance Isaac, born August 1st, 1932, passed away August 14th, 1977. Didn't live very long. Stock car race driver. Isaac made his first NASCAR appearance in 1961 and quickly forged a reputation as one of the toughest competitors in the 60s and 70s. He was most famously associated with driving Nord. Oh, Lord. I'm going to try to. Krauskopf's red number 71 K&K Insurance Dodge Charger. Isaac was NASCAR's Grand National Series champion in 1970. He abruptly retired from full-time top-level competition in 73 and died of a heart attack during a late model race at Hickory Motor Speedway in 77. For his achievements, Isaac was named as one of NASCAR's 50th greatest drivers, inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It didn't say what year. Yeah, it's pretty good for an old farm boy out of Catawba, North Carolina. Let's see if I can pull up his car. He's got a pretty car. Actually, if you go back and watch many, many moons ago, class of a long time ago, let's see. This is a pretty car. See what you think. I don't know if you all really see it or not. It's kind of dark. Can you see it there, Tyler? You're my gauge on everything. Every episode, you're like, hey man, can you see this? So if you're not here, I don't know what's happening on y'all's end. But yeah, I just want to give you all an introduction. Yeah, you like that winged warrior, man. Now Richard Petty had a good looking car too back in the day. But see, Richard Petty ran in '66. Look at his car. Yeah, oh yeah, thank you. All right, so NASCAR history of this Middle Georgia Raceway. And then we got a little funny little story at the end of this episode that we're going to talk about. I think it's hilarious. Opened in '66, cost $500,000. First race, speeding more like 200. NASCAR Grand National Stock Car Race. Became the location of the speed record when Richard Petty broke it half-mile NASCAR record with an average speed of, like I said earlier, 82.023 miles per hour during the 100-mile, or sorry, Tyler's in the chat, so 160 kilometers event. Did I have it? That's another page. Okay. Where did I leave off at? Next year, we'll skip that. Next year, Petty returned to win the 150-mile, 240-kilometer NASCAR race in the following season. NASCAR began its '68 season instead of Daytona. So in 1968, they started in Byron, Georgia, at the track. And Leroy Yarborough, who was, let's see, Leroy Yarborough. If y'all know the name Cale Yarborough, Lonnie Leroy Yarborough. Lonnie Yarbrough. September 17th, 1938, December 4th, 1984, was American stock car racer. His best season was 69. He won 7 races. He had 21 finishes at the top 10, earned $193,211, $1,452,387.22 when adjusted for inflation. During his career, 60 to 72, he competed in 198 races, scoring 14 wins, 65 finishes in the top 5, 92 finishes in the top 10, 10 pole positions. He competed in open wheel racing, making 5 starts in the USAC, which is United States Auto Club. Championship cars, including 3 Indy 500s, with a best finish of 3rd at Trenton Speedway in 1970. His race number was 98. When asked about his passion, he described racing as what I call my life. A lot of your legendary race car drivers, it is their life. Racing. They don't know anything else. Yarbrough was moved to a mental institution March 7th, 1980, after trying to he tried to kill his mom. All attempts to rehabilitate him, both in Florida or in North Carolina, failed, and Leroy eventually died in 1984 after a fall. In 1990, he was inducted to the National Motorsports Press Association's Hall of Fame at Darlington in South Carolina. Leroy was not related to Carol Yarbrough. So there's some confusion there. There you go. Grew up west side of Jacksonville. That'd be interesting. They tried to kill his mom. 100 miles makes sense in your brain. Well, I was trying to be, accommodating to our friends to the north. We don't rock freedom fractions. So Leroy Yarbrough set on pole position, and Bobby Allison won the 267-mile race later that year. David Pearson won 150-mile race from the pole. 69 season again began at the track. So 2 years in a row, we start the NASCAR season in Byron. Pearson qualified on the pole. Petty won his 3rd race at the track. He covered 250 miles with a speed of 85.121 miles per hour, the fastest in the track's NASCAR history. In the middle of the season, Bobby Isaac won the 2nd of 3 NASCAR races held at the track at a 300-lap event. He beat David Pearson by 4 seconds, and I think he broke the speed record. I'm trying to find it. Final race was held near the end of the year. Isaac sat on the pole after 98.184 miles per hour. Now, this is all in a half-mile circle track. This ain't like 98 miles an hour straight. I read somewhere. Well, I don't see it here. The 1970 Georgia 500 was also occurred at the track. Petty started on the pole position and won the 274-mile. The final NASCAR race was held November 7th, 1971. Bobby Allison drove from the pole to win the 274-mile race. So we got some classic, some good names. Hey, Andre, what's up? Yeah, you missed the part where I don't know if you were here or not, but old race car driver Leroy Yarborough went to a mental institution for trying to kill his mom. By strangulation. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Where is? We'll pull up some pictures that y'all see. Notification here. Some of this is off of another website. I can't see it. AbandonedSoutheast.com. So you can actually go on there and pull up and look at the stuff for yourself. Pull that one up. Try clicking on some of this. So y'all can actually see what the race track looks like now. Yeah, we'll get to that. We're talking about the Byron Raceway. Yeah. There's BC Sanders or Brian Sanders. BC is in the chat from the Disruptors podcast. If y'all want some insight on some good topics from a lot of different people from all kind of different walks of life, man, but check out BC Sanders, the Disruptors podcast with Brian Sanders. Sorry, I say that correctly, so y'all can actually find it. And for all you true crime, weekly true crime, most of the time weekly. They've been hitting the track record kind of like me. One, wait about 2 weeks, do another one. But thank y'all both. Thank y'all, everybody, for being in the chats. But y'all go check out Andrea up late, live on YouTube most of the time, Tuesday nights, sometime between 8 p.m. and whenever. 8 p.m. and like 9 p.m. sometimes they get started, and really good topics and events and stuff like that. Really cool stories. Yeah, 8 p.m. and midnight. I was going to say that. Whenever Andrea feels like she's ready to hit the go button. Yeah. So let's get into the other stuff. The second annual, I guess because the first one's inaugural, right? Second annual and last Atlanta International Pop Festival was held in the soybean field adjacent to the track. Jimi Hendrix, the Allman Brothers Band, over 30 other acts performed there during the 4th of July weekend in 1970. The town of Byron, you can probably, I don't even know what the population now is. Byron, Georgia, population is probably like 8 grand, maybe. Let me see. Byron, Georgia. Where it is now. Really? Back in 2019, it shows to be 5,149 estimate in 2019 by the Census Bureau. I don't know. Well, when you drive through there at 5 o'clock, it seems to be a lot more. Well, cool, man. The Mid-Georgia Raceway, we're talking about the Atlanta Pop Festival. After the economy crashed, okay, hang on. Where was I? I skipped a line. Estimated crowd of 400,000 concert goers. The town had a population of 2,000 at the time. 7 years later, it was a location for one of the best racing movies, historical racing movies, and it starred Richard Pryor and Jeff Bridges, or Bo Bridges. One of the Bridges. Movie called Grease Lightning. It's an actual movie about Wendell Scott. Wendell Scott was he was a NASCAR, the first African American NASCAR driver and team owner to compete and win in all divisions of NASCAR at its highest level. Haven't done an official episode on him. A few years ago, the track was purchased with the goal of converting it to a land development site, and after the economy crashed, the plans were put on hold. And y'all remember this from, I think I talked about it before. September 15th, 2012, an official Georgia Historical Society marker was placed near the raceway to commemorate the 1970 Pop Festival. There was a big crash during one of the races. Sonny Braswell's car hit the barricade. The barricade went right through the middle of his car. He broke 14 bones. He actually proposed to his girlfriend right before the race. In 1984, an ARCA race series ran at the track, and the race was won by Davey Allison. I think it was the last race that was actually won there, ran there. Ken Reagan, father of two-time NASCAR driver David Reagan, he won. Oh, well, there it is. He won the final race in Middle Georgia Raceway. In 2011, Dodge Chrysler contacted the current owner and asked to use the track to advertise the release of the new body style Durango. After 11 days filming for the new Dodge Durango, filming wrapped up. There's a good scene. I wonder if that video is still online. But I'm going to pull up this website real quick, and I'll show y'all some pictures. Yeah, Richard Pryor played Wendell Scott, exactly. And that was a pretty good movie. Here's something else that I found out while I'm looking this up. My grandfather, Pawpaw Harrington, he was actually in that movie for like that long. There's a scene, I think they're at Atlanta Raceway before it became Super Speedway and all that. But there's a scene of somebody's car and the hood's up, and my Pawpaw Harrington is standing in front of the car. So it's kind of like one of those blink and you miss it shots, but he was in there. He was in it. Let's see, movie. Do it. I need to maybe do it. Yeah, Bo Bridges. Because Richard Pryor played Wendell Scott. Bo Bridges played Hutch. Pam Grier. Realized she was actually in it. Played Mary, which I think Mary was Wendell's wife. Cleavon Little, if you know Cleavon Little, um, Vincent Gardenia, Sheriff Cotton. So Cleavon Little. Anybody in the chat know who Cleavon Little was? Yeah, they were using extras. Well, come find out through Daddy that Papa he had a way of getting involved with all kind of crazy stuff that was going on around Macon, Middle Georgia, Georgia as a whole. So yes, thank you. Sorry, dude. I'm still gonna call you BC. That's how I met you. Everybody else, your bride can call you Brian. That, all respect, but I'm gonna call you BC if you're okay with that. But BC in the chat, he says yes. Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles. He was the new sheriff, who was near in Rockridge. If you don't get easily offended, and I'm pretty confident that none of my listeners, people listening to this, get very easily offended. It's a Mel Gibson movie. It's wrong on all kind of different levels and funny as hell. I'm not gonna lie, one of the greatest movies ever. But Cleavon Little also. I couldn't find it. I wanted to cover it on here, but I can't find it. I have to find it in some pawn shop somewhere or download it somehow. I could probably sweet talk my uncle to getting me a copy of it, of a movie called Vanishing Point. Cleavon Little also had a role in the movie Vanishing Point. He was the radio DJ that the guy was listening to as he bolted across, I guess, California or wherever he was going, in that white RT Challenger. I'd probably get my uncle. My uncle's pretty good at getting me stuff that's hard to find. I could probably get him to send me a copy or email me a copy of Vanishing Point. So that should be interesting. But yeah, man, I think I'm gonna cover that as a monthly movie review. Maybe we'll do that next month or next week. Breeze like, yeah. So that's gonna be next week's episode. Breeze Lightning. There we go. But Grease Lightning does talk about the history of Wendell Scott, first African American driver in NASCAR, and all the. It's rough. It's funny at some point because it's Richard Pryor, but it's rough. It's a pretty good movie. So, what was I gonna say? I'm gonna show y'all this video. Give me 1 second. Thanks. Yeah. I think I found it right here. Where the good stuff is. Yeah, this is back in 2012 when they released the new generation of the next gen Durango, which I think would technically be the third gen body style. Um, let's see.
There's more than one of these dilapidated racetracks in America today. This shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. Not when you look at the kind of cars people are making, the kind
Actually filmed at the track we're talking about.
people are buying. Performance, evidently, is no longer a priority. Cue the sad music. Cue the windswept leaves. Cue the wind-torn, checkered flag. Wait, do you hear that? That sounds like performance returning to the stage. That is a Dodge Durango. Maybe the only SUV that hasn't forgotten that the S stands for sport. And that is the proof that while many may have abandoned the sacred institution of performance, power, handling, agility, and fun, we have not. American performance, consider yourself redeemed.
Yep. So that's when they released that body style, and they turned and dropped a Hemi in it, in the 5.7 third gen Hemi. Yeah. So there's that. Hope y'all like that. I thought it was pretty cool when that commercial dropped. I had everybody. This is long ago, obviously 2012. I had everybody telling me all about it, tagging me in all the commercials on posts on Facebook, and hey man, check it out. Look. So bouncing off of that, let's see if I can pull up some of these pictures and I'll show y'all. This is pretty cool, man. You can actually say, like I said, abandoned Southeast, and look at the pictures yourself. I think it's really cool. Scroll back from the top. I'm sorry, make y'all busy. So there it is. I mean, looking at the pictures, it looks bigger in the pictures. Maybe just because it's all grown up now. But yeah, that's where you come in from beside that golf course, driving range. That's pretty much. I mean, even when I went down there last week or 2 weeks ago, it was still. It's more grown up along the bleachers. And one thing in the commercial that it said Broxton or Brixton Motor Speedway, it's all painted over right here where it says Middle Georgia Motor Speedway. I think Dodge did that. And then here's a picture of the Atlanta Pop Festival in 1970. Over 400,000 in attendance. They say that it was the biggest, obviously the biggest concert that Georgia's ever seen in attendance, but the biggest crowd that Jimi Hendrix had played in front of, I think it was bigger than Woodstock, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But this had 400,000 people. I don't know how many people were at Woodstock. Well, there we go. It's estimated more than 400,000 people attended Woodstock Festival. Took place in August. No. There's a lot of crazy pictures floating around out there as well from from the concert. I mean, you had, like I said before in our last episode, you know, Hendrix, Joplin, Bob Seger was there, B.B. King was there, Mountain was there. The James Gang, 10cc, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I think tickets was like $1.50, maybe $7. I don't remember. It was last week's episode, but yeah, it's crazy. But they had such a huge crowd, and it was so hot that down the road from the track, they had opened up because people were passing out. I mean, it was all the hippies. People were at this big festival. It's in the middle of July, you know, in Middle Georgia. If you've never experienced a July in Middle Georgia, oh, that's like today. I had to give up. I was trying to finish pulling the dash out of that truck I had. I'm out there roasting. I mean, my shoulders, y'all can probably see it, you know. But I'm out there roasting. I had to give up. I was like, I ain't doing this. I ain't going to pass out at it. But you crazy, man? You're sitting out there in the heat. So they ran out of water. The stories and all that I heard about the concert, they ran out of water, so they had to start bringing in water and just giving it to people. The governor at the time tried to stop the concert from happening. And since that date, they have made it even harder to put any concerts that big on outside. But yeah, I mean, ambulance had to come in. Folks were passing out. There's open use drugs everywhere. You know, what's the cops gonna do? You're overwhelmed. You got 400,000 hippies sitting around. You want to stop everybody? Might as well just let it be. And that's from what I've read. A lot of the retired deputies and excuse me, retired deputies and all that from back then, they were like, yeah, man, what can we do? So, but I couldn't imagine seeing all that. And then even in the next weekend, going to see a NASCAR race. I think I was wrong. I was born in the wrong time period, man. Of course, I'd be old right now. But seeing the Allman Brothers band on stage, especially the original lineup, and then the next weekend seeing Richard Petty, Bobby Isaac, all of them run around the track. You know, I can imagine seeing David Allison. We weren't in Middle Georgia in the early '80s, so yeah, I was in Athens when I was in '84. It was still in Athens. So I think that sounds about right. But and so I'm gonna leave it with this last little bit. I know we're going on a little over. Before the 1960, let me look at it again. I think it's before the 1968 season kicked off. Yeah. So hang on, let me look. The last 2 months before the second race, less than 2 months before the second race, September 23rd, 67, Federators discovered a moonshine distillery in an underground bunker next to the track at turn 3. A local newspaper described it as an elaborate, sophisticated operation with 2 fermenting tapes totaling 3,700 gallons, able to produce 80 gallons of moonshine a day. Lord have mercy. Oh my God, 80 gallons. Trapdoor inside a fake ticket booth, 17 feet underground to a cave where the distillery was kept. The owner at the time, Lamar Brown Jr., was arrested after the discovery. The Moonshine Distillery had an electric exhaust system, electric lighting, electric insect repellent devices. Federal agents found out about it after a hunter smelled fumes and tipped off the authorities. Agents would typically blown it up with dynamite, but instead used acetylene torches to destroy it so the racetrack would not be damaged. The race was held the following day during that trial. The race was held the following day. During the trial, the government produced an invoice for 24 pounds of yeast bought by Mr. Brown 10 days before the moonshine still was discovered. Brown said he bought yeast to make food for the racetrack concession stand. Prosecutor told the jury that 24 pounds of yeast would make enough bread to feed Atlanta for a week. Brown was the only witness for the defense and adamantly denied knowing anything about the still. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before finding him not guilty. So I will leave that. That is crazy. I don't know. I never did go back there and adventure because I forgot about it until after I started doing reading up on the track itself. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go try it again. But yeah, so what did it say? 17 feet underground? Yeah, 17 feet underground to a cave where the distillery was kept. So instead of just 3,700 gallons, it had two fermenting tanks totaling 3,700 gallons, able to produce 80 gallons of moonshine a day. Ooh, man. I wonder if BC, I know that he was kind of in homicide up there, but I wonder if he's got any old stories of knocking over moonshine still, or have heard of, so, of course it's the South, and I mean, moonshine brings pretty good money, especially if you make it right. I don't condone any illegal alcohol, untaxed alcohol production. No, I'm not saying I'm against it either. But I'm trying to find more on that. Let's see. I mean, this guy was like, they pretty much, and you know how the court of opinion is, that a man's guilty before proven innocent. And that's the law. Hopefully it's the other way around. We pray most of the time that it's the other way around, but trying to find. Here's an aerial view of the racetrack. See if I can pull it up here. Yeah, there's an aerial view of the racetrack back in the day. I see all this. From what I could tell, yeah, this road comes in different. This is Highway 41 from, I guess that's Byron that way, like the official city of Byron. You're coming up here. That's Highway 49 until it gets right about here, and then it turns into 41. The racetrack. 41 travels this way now. I think you can almost see in this black and white picture this path. I think it cuts. it's different through there now. I'm pretty confident it is. Oh man, it's crazy. I'm just looking for better pictures. There's Jimmy Hendrix. There's more pictures of the. There's an up close, better up close picture of the entryway. So yeah, if you come up through here, beside that wall, the grandstand, come up here. 41 is to the right. So there's that wall. I think it's that one right there. 41 would come up right here. Actually, it's way back here. I think this is it right here. Anyway, well, so yeah, that's the story of racing and music and Moonshine, Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, Davey Allison, all the great NASCAR Hall of Famers. Before we go, we'll go ahead and talk about this. Buddy Jacob and the guys over there at Operation Tackle Box. Operation Tackle Box, 501c3 nonprofit organization. Healing through reeling, combat veterans helping combat veterans. I think I know a few combat veterans that are close buddies of mine, or at least associates, somewhat. You can find them on Facebook, Operation Tackle Box, Instagram, Operation_Tackle_Box. They do healing through reeling. There's Jacob and their previous giveaway, the side by side. Y'all know Brother Turtle's still out. I'm not sure when he's going to come back or if he's going to come back. I still talk to him every day because he's my brother. I love him. The dude from Knoxville, Tennessee won the side by side drawing, and they're gearing up to do their off-road. So they're a family-owned and operated team. They focus full-time on planning out fishing expeditions for the veterans, for our veterans. We have full plans for helping veterans get what they need. GI Bill, VA claims, absolutely anything and everything we can do, we will do. Why fishing? As a combat veteran, I too suffer from PTSD, and fishing and being on the open water has helped me more than anything else. I want to share that experience with other veterans in need. Being on the water to me is a time where I'm not looking over my shoulder or worried about what's happening around me. The calm of the water and the distance between me and the land, there is truly nothing like it. In the words of Jacob. Yeah, y'all go check them out. You can click on the Shop Now tab. There's a little button right there. Go in there and get you some super sweet merch. Hang on, I'll change the screen just 1 second. Home button. Stop that. Nope. 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 Yep. Apparel and accessories. New design drop. They got some new t-shirts out, y'all. Stuff for ladies, Andrea. Hoodies. Hoodies that said, been there, destroyed that. In a few different colors. gray. I think that's purple. I don't know. Green, blue, dark blue, gray, black. Get you a hat, t-shirt, long sleeves, short sleeves, jackets, hoodies, zip-ups, stuff for ladies. And I think we got decals as well. Or if you don't want to buy a hat or a shirt or anything like that, you can go on there and just simply click donate. There's a donate tab. Really helps our veterans. Everything goes to the veterans. I know that they've helped out Brother Turtle. And if y'all been a long-time listener here, you know who he is. And if you're not a long-time listener, welcome to the party. But that's about all I got for tonight, for this week. I'm going to watch Grease Lightning over this week, make some notes. We'll do some highlights on that. So, yeah, next week, monthly movie review. And also, next week's premiere of Five Stone Warrior Ministry podcast. Me and Brother Jonathan are going to start getting everything going. I got the YouTube page up. It's got to go through its cycle. Got to go through the process. So yeah, if y'all are in the ministry, it's not going to be some seminary, or it's not going to be a whole thing where we sit here and go through scripture and stories and stuff like that. It's just going to be how we as Christian men have come to the saving power of Jesus Christ. Our walk, what brought us to, what brought us through it, everything like that. We're going to touch on some uncomfortable topics, yes. You know, how our views and what scripture says about today's society, or what things like that. So I'm super excited about it. So is Jonathan. I was talking to him earlier about it. And I hope to see y'all there. Anybody who listens to this, anybody who has questions or anything, man. I don't claim to know all the answers from the Bible. I don't claim to know every word of scripture in the Bible. I know what I've experienced. And my objective, honestly, is if I could share my experience, Jonathan shares his experience, and help others and lead them to Christ, whether you're wavering, whether you're a Christian now, you've been struggling, whether you're struggling now, if you're not a Christian, you want to figure out what it is, bring it on, brother. We'll all figure it out together. And whatever we share, if you go fivestonewarrior@gmail.com, you share something very intimate and personal, it stays there. I ain't going to share nobody's info. You got prayer requests, things you're dealing with. Everybody struggles with PTSD, anxiety, depression. This world is crazy. It's getting crazy. I figured I got a platform, I got a voice. Jonathan wants to do this. And I really would like for you to get y'all support as well. I don't know if you're not a believer. Cool. Come listen to it anyway. It may change your mind. I know what I've experienced, like I said. And that's the only thing I'm basing it off of. Not of what some dude up on the pulpit told me years ago. But if I could share my experience and bring others to Christ, it's not my job to save lives or to save souls. It's his job. But if I can bring them on, if I can bring anybody on and it helps change their lives, it's going to get emotional. It's going to get rough, but we'll all pray through it. We'll get through it. I look forward to it. Our first couple episodes are going to be about our testimony. I'm really on fire. I've been listening. I've been changing. I've devoted my heart to Christ, and even more and more since my divorce. And it's been a struggle, but not really a struggle like in a bad way, but sometimes I stumble, and that's what it's about. We still keep on the fight, Ain't nobody perfect. One man was perfect to walk the face of this earth, and they killed him. You know, but he rose again. But listen, I hope everyone stays safe. I hope everybody has a great week. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay out of this heat as much as you can. I will hopefully see y'all next week. Anybody got anything else? Brother Tyler, thank you for joining in the chats as always. Andre and Brother BC, thank y'all for being in the chats. I really appreciate it. So yeah, we're going down a whole different path. Not as far as Forever Road. Forever Road is going to stay Forever Road. But we're going to have the other one as well. So it may be 1 week Forever Road, the next week Five Stone Warrior, because it's a lot to deal with trying to do 2 podcasts. I'm working a full-time job. But thank y'all for being in the chats. Thank y'all for watching me. Click that like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Share this with your enemies. And I will see y'all next weekend. We'll cover Grease Lightning. And let's see. Yep, okay. Yep, we'll see y'all next week. I love y'all. Peace.
Thanks for riding with us on the FRP, the Forever Road Podcast, with Bosco. You can find and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, or drop us a line or question anytime at foreverroadpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time right here on the Forever Road Podcast.